Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today I have for you guys is another Star Wars movie review. Today we're tackling the end of the original trilogy, Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. So, this is, again, the end of the original trilogy, and overall this was a great trilogy. I think this was all three films put together. I think are better made than the prequels, but, you know, I do love the prequels, but overall this is a great trilogy. And I think this is a really good ending. Now, first, I want to give some negatives, and then I'm going to move on to some other things. So, there really aren't that many negatives in this film. I really have, I think, 2 or 3 tiny nitpicks that I really have when I reviewing this. And one of them is that the CGI or the green screen looks very bad. And you get it, oh, it's franchise, it's in the 80s. I get it, but there are certain shots, especially where Han and Lando are talking in front of the Falcon before they go to Endor, and you can tell it's a green screen. You know, sometimes it's like a matte painting, or sometimes it's like projection, whatever. Sometimes it's like an actual physical model, you know, or a set. And sometimes it is like a green screen type of element. And, you know, that you can tell because they have like a kind of like a black line around them, or a white line around them. And it's funny because A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back are older films, but they don't look as bad. And there's a few shots like that. There's another shot where, you know, Lando is by himself in front of a Falcon, and it just looks really bad. You can tell, especially when Leia and Luke are on the speeder bikes at Endor, which is a fantastic scene and very fun, very, very intense. You know, for one or 2 seconds, you're like, this doesn't look too good. And then the rest, you're like, oh, this is effing cool, you know what I mean? But it does look, you know, there's only one shot in the Endor scene that really stuck out to me is, you know, wow, this is not looking too hot. Again, it's from the 80s, but a lot of this movie, in fact, everything other than those 2 shots really hold up perfectly. I mean, you know, even the other green screen stuff, the stop motion is better. Everything is the Rancor looks freaking awesome. Jabba the Hutt is a really cool looking puppet looking thing. You know, Yoda's cool. There's so many really awesome moments in this. And yeah, there's a few scenes where, you know, because the version I was watching is the special edition, so, you know, George Lucas kind of tampered, and, you know, he loves CGI. George Lucas poops CGI. So when he goes to that, you know, you kind of see, oh, they added that, no, oh, God, and then that whole, like, dance number was like, nah, and he's screaming in the camera. It does look, the CGI for it doesn't look that bad. It looks kind of like prequel-esque in a way, but, which isn't the best, but it's not bad. But it does stand out when you're comparing a prequel-esque, you know, kind of blurry CGI alien compared to real footage. They do that at the end, too, where they're all kind of celebrating before you go to Endor, and, you know, you see Naboo or Coruscant or, you know, what have you. It doesn't look bad, you know, like the Gungans are dancing on Naboo, and that looks fine, but it is funny because, again, this film is in the 80s, I think 86, 87, 89 maybe, something along the late 80s, and, you know, the film looks like it's from the late 80s. So it's not to say it's bad looking, but, you know, you can, if you watch a 2022 film, and you can, you know, you watch The Batman or The Rise of Skywalker, and you compare that to Return of the Jedi, you know, it looks older, and then you get those scenes in Naboo where it looks, you know, like I said, 2005 prequel-esque Revenge of the Sith era, which is good. And, you know, there is a bit of a disconnect there. It's not a big deal. It's not a negative. I just wanted to point it out. As far as negatives, though, there's one line where Darth Vader goes, "He will come to me," and it's just kind of like, they could have had, the writing in this film is very good, and they, you know, there's really no cheesy lines. And then you get, you know, Palpatine, you know, he's like, "You will bring him before me," and, you know, that. And Vader's like, "He will come to me." It's like, you could have said that any other way, you know what I mean? You could have said it so many different ways other than sounding really stupid and weird. That's, again, it's not really negative. It's just kind of the only poor line that I kind of picked up, or the poor, not really a line, I guess the, you know, the saying of it. But other than that, I think this film looks great. It is acted great. I think Luke and Mark Hamill, everyone's great in this film. Ian McDiarmid's good as Palpatine. You know, I think everyone is doing a really good job in their roles. Carrie Fisher, you know, she's starting to sound like a chain smoker or like drug user or whoever. You know, she's like, you know, she kind of sounds kind of bad. That's the start of it. I didn't notice that in New Hope and Empire. In this film, you can tell she's been packing the punches, if you know what I'm saying. But, you know, there very much is that sense that, yeah, she sounds different. And, you know, there's a few lines where she's like, you know, she's just kind of making these weird noises, where, you know, Han's like, "Oh, you could tell Luke, but you can't tell me." You know, there's certain weird acting moments from her. You know, she doesn't really sell it a whole lot. Again, she's hot when she's in her bikini in the sail barge, but other than that, I think this is probably her worst film. I think she was better in A New Hope, The Empire, and the sequels. This is probably her worst, but it's not bad. It's not like, oh my god, Carrie Fisher sucks. This is really taking me out of the movie. No, Nothing took me out of the film. The he will come to me, the Leia, none of that stuff ruins the film in any way. I'm just pointing that out because I'm reviewing it. So, other than that, though, this film is effing great, man. It looks really good. It is acted great. It's written really well. The action scenes are really great. And now I want to kind of touch upon Darth Vader and Luke, because we'll get into Luke first, because in A New Hope, as I said, Luke is very kind of naive and immature. You know, he's young. Empire, he's kind of, like I said in my review for that film, he kind of gives up too quick. You know, he's like, I can't do what you ask, impossible. This is bullcrap. This is bantha poodoo, right? I'm done. He goes and whines in the corner. And in this film, he's more aggressive, right? He's more mad. And I'm not saying he's mad as in every scene he's in, he's pissed off and he's, he's not like mad, you know what I'm saying? So don't twist my words. I'm not saying he's mad constantly. I'm saying that there are a few moments in this film where he does either get mad or call upon the dark side. In fact, the first scene of Luke in this film, he uses a dark side power. I don't see anyone talking about this on the internet. I guess they just forgot about it. But Luke literally force chokes 2 Gamorrean guards, which, by the way, is a dark side skill. So he literally tapped into the dark side, tapped into anger to force choke, because again, Jedi don't do that, or at least normal Jedi don't do that. We get scenes where he's making threats. He's trying to shoot Jabba with a blaster. That whole sail barge scene is awesome, by the way. It's really cool. There's one scene where Luke kicks a skiff guard, and like here's the skiff guard's face, and here's Luke's foot. It goes like. You can clearly see it does not connect. It doesn't look like. Obviously, you're not going to kick someone in the head, but in movies, you have to sell that it connects, and it did not. So that again, slight, not a negative, but a nitpick I noticed. But the scene is really great, and I feel funny when in The Rise of Skywalker fans are like, "Oh my God, Rey's using a lightsaber like a baseball bat. This is fucking retarded." And then you get. In this film, Luke is literally waving it around like a baseball bat, but no one cares, right? Because it's the original trilogy. But I love the scene. I just had to point that out because it's hypocrisy at its finest. But it is really cool to see Luke, just going apeshit on these guards, just destroying them. Now, again, while we're on the topic of Luke using the dark side, again, Force wielders. Yes, Jedi do kill with the lightsaber, but really only in self-defense. There are scenes where Luke just walks up to a guard and just whoosh, whoosh, he just goes nuts on him. And again, it's fun to watch, but again, Luke is tapping into his anger. He doesn't really, you're not really supposed to do that when you're a Jedi. Again, a Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never attack. And Luke does that in The Last Jedi, but in this film he kind of goes crazy on those guards. And then we get the end, right? The Death Star 2 battle, which is one of my favorite scenes in the original trilogy. Ever since I was, 12 when I saw it, 13 when I saw it. I did see this one like A New Hope when I was a little younger, way younger than I should have, but the green and the red lightsabers really stuck out to me as a kid. And I just, it's a great scene just from when I was like, not 12 or 13, I was maybe, 6, 7, 8. Again, my dad was like, "Oh, you're watching this film," so I was like, whatever. But again, it really stuck out to me. It's a great scene, it really, really is. And to see Luke really lash out at Vader is something that he shouldn't. Again, Luke force choking, murdering people without any, just remorse. And then I have to bring it up because it's important. The Last Jedi, right? What does Luke do in that film, which all the fans freaked out about over? Right? Luke saw the darkness in Ben Solo, right? He saw Kylo Ren, and for a split second, he ignites his blue lightsaber, or green lightsaber, right? And then literally 1 second, you can count it. It's like 1 to 2 seconds. He immediately turns it off and regrets it completely. That is not out of character. Period. Objectively, that is not. Everyone who says it is just overreacting and basically being a baby. What does Luke do in this film? Well, let's actually look at the facts. Luke gets mad, right? He starts attacking Vader, again, dark side. He then wallops on Vader multiple times, much like the Batman, where he's beating that thug up in the beginning, right? A vengeance, that scene. He just goes poopy-doo on Vader, right? Smashes his arm off. Literally cuts Vader's arm off for the second time. You see all the wires and bits and all that stuff. And then he stops. So I'll ask you this again. What is worse? Thinking about something, doing it, and then immediately regretting it? Or literally doing it as in beating up your dad multiple times, chopping his arm off, and ready to kill him? That is more out of character than The Last Jedi. But no one cares about it, And look, it's not out of character. I'm just saying that for the sake of this argument, or this statement. Luke is not out of character. Luke has always been a very good person, right? He's just a good guy. He's not like a Boy Scout like Superman, but he's a good person. And to see him, struggle with, naivety, just kind of, I don't get it, in A New Hope. Empire gives up too easily. Okay, he does that. Empire, Return of the Jedi, gets mad really quickly. Again, I'm not saying he's mad constantly, but there are moments where he does tap into the dark side, and he gives into his anger. And yes, he does stop, but again, to people who saying he's out of character in the sequels for thinking about doing something versus him in the originals actually doing it and almost going through with it completely, it is in character Luke. Luke is a good person, but he is tempted by the dark side, as we all are in real life. If Star Wars was real, which technically it is, because it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, which means Star Wars does exist in our world. It's just a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Anyway, there are those moments where you're like, oh wow, Luke, he's mad. Luke's pretty pissed off, and then he does stop. But I think it's a really good character moment. To see Luke. We know he's a good character, but he does struggle. And again, as I mentioned in Empire, just because you win the day, or just because you conquer your fear, or just because you make a mistake, does not mean you're going to make a mistake again. Again, I said this before, but I'll say it again really quickly. Luke Skywalker, in the originals and the sequels, is not a movie character. He is a human character in a movie. Right? Look at us. Say I stub my toe and I get mad and I punch a desk, right? I don't know, just whatever. Oh, okay, well, now, say I'm 23, and I do that, and then I'm 26, and I do the same thing. Humans make the same effing mistake all the time, Just because I do good on a test in school, and I get an A+, doesn't mean I'm going to get an A+ on every test ever again, forever, Or just because I got an F on a test, doesn't mean I'm going to fail every test forever. It's the same exact thing. Luke is a human in a movie, not just a movie, because movie characters, like I said, they overcome an obstacle and they never make another mistake again. It's just there and it's done, for the most part. I'm not saying every character. Again, I can't make this 16 hours long, but you get the gist. And now we're gonna, again, I just think that's a really great Luke moment, and I think it's really cool to draw on the connection of the sequels. Luke is a good person, but he is tempted by the dark side. He does give into temptations, and he acts before he thinks. That is the best thing I can do. Luke always does that. He did it all the time in this trilogy. He thinks, oh man, my friends are in danger, I gotta go by. That's what he does. He doesn't think things through. He acts, and then he thinks. And he did that in the sequels too, and I think it's a great moment. So, going back to Anakin Skywalker, right, the chosen one, who Anakin Skywalker is destined to bring balance to the Force, right? And he does that in this film. He, quote-unquote, kills Palpatine. Now, technically, Palpatine does die. The Sith alchemists and all that do bring him back on Exegol, which is fantastic. Completely in character, completely makes sense. And then we do get, Luke, technically Darth Vader does, fulfill the prophecy of the Chosen One. He does bring balance to the Force. And we see that in The Rise of Skywalker, where Anakin literally tells Rey, bring balance to the Force as I did. So, it's canon. He did it. He brought balance to the Force. There's been peace for 30 years or something? It's been a long time. Now, again, I brought this up and I'll bring it over really quickly again because it's in this film. A lot of people thought, oh, Palpatine comes back, so that obviously means that Darth Vader's sacrifice was meant for nothing. Quickly, 10 seconds. No. Darth Vader literally killed Palpatine not because he wanted to kill Palpatine. He killed Palpatine in order to save Luke. Because if Darth Vader wanted to kill Palpatine out of rage, he wouldn't have died a Jedi, and he would not have looked like prequel Anakin Skywalker in the end. And that's objectively it. That's the intent. Darth Vader did not say, I'm going to kill you. You're bad. I win. I'm chosen one. I fulfilled the prophecy. That's not what he did at all. Darth Vader killed Palpatine to save his son out of love. That's why he's a Jedi in the end, because his last act was a good, selfless act, not a selfish act. There's a difference. Now, I think that's a great moment, and then, that's really all I wanted to talk about for Luke and Anakin, but I had to bring it up because it's in this film. So, other than that, I think that the final battle is great. I think that some of the some of the special effects don't hold up as well compared to New Hope and Empire. However, again, Jabba looks great. The Rancor looks great. I think they do a really good job there. The end space battle is really cool. I think, the Ewok scenes can be a little slow. It's not a negative for me because I think it's really good world building. I think that the Ewoks are really cool. They're funny, they're cute, I get it. But, I do think that the Porgs are better, but I do think that the Ewoks are cool too. And I always love when people are like, oh, the stormtroopers get beaten up by teddy bears. And yeah, that is kind of funny, but when you're watching the film and there's like a billion stormtroopers and then the Ewoks come out of the bushes and they start attacking, first of all, stormtroopers, as a subscriber of mine pointed out, they are and I knew this, I just didn't say it, they are just regular ass people. I mean, they're not like trained killers like the clones, they're just regular people, like Finn, or Janna. They're just taken from their family, and I guess I'll be bad. Pew pew, and that's what they do. And they got scared and surprised by the Ewoks, and there was a lot of whole commotion and chaos, and then Han and Leia, and and then the rest is history. But I do think it's cool. Do I believe that a bunch of stormtroopers would get killed by teddy bears? When you say it out loud, no. But when you watch it, it does make perfect sense. There's a lot of chaos going on, and a lot of Ewoks do die. I think there's one of the darkest scenes in the entire movie, actually, is when you see two Ewoks are running, right? And an AT-ST or whatever blows them up, and they both go flying, and one Ewok flies and dies, one doesn't. And I think it's a really poignant and powerful scene to show that, yeah, the good guys don't always come out unscathed, because, you see a butt ton of Ewoks, and they're running around screaming and shooting their arrows, and they're flinging their things, but you don't see a whole lot of them die, and that's not because, oh, it's PG. No, that has nothing to do with it. It's because they do die, but it's more impactful to see a bunch of enemies die than a bunch of heroes die, because it's a movie and good should win over evil. But when you look at it in a filmmaking point of view, it does make a lot of sense that they would have at least one scene of an Ewok dying, and it is a pretty effed up and sad scene because the Ewok's just mourning and crying over his buddy. It shows that good people will die in war. It's not going to be perfect for the good guys, just because they're good. And I think that's really good scene. I think that the speeder bike chase, again, there's one shot where it looks a little hokey, but it does look pretty good for the most part, and I think it's really fun to watch, very action-packed and intense and epic. Palpatine is great. I think, again, that end battle between Luke and Vader is really, 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 awesome. I think it's very well choreographed, and it's just cool, And to see all this, I think, Revenge of the Sith and The Rise of Skywalker are more climactic, and they're more intense, and they're just more epic compared to this film, because, again, when this film came out, there weren't really any prequels or sequels planned for the most part. It was just, okay, this is it. And, if this was truly it, this kind of was a little underwhelming of a epic finale of the trilogy. Yeah, there's a really cool lightsaber fight, there's a really cool space battle, but, I didn't think of a really cool end fight scene. I think of, The Rise of Skywalker, Endgame, Pirates of the Caribbean 3 at World's End, stuff like that. Where it's like, the tension, I don't know how to word it, because there are tensions high in this film. There is an epic battle. I don't know, it just doesn't feel as climactic and epic as Revenge or Rise. So, I do think this is a very good film, though. Again, it's going to have to get Return of the Jedi. I'm going to give it an A. Again, my only issue for not giving it an A+, was one or two of the CGI moments from George's tampering and, the actual, just the way it looks in general. Again, Empire and New Hope did look better than this film. There is another scene I forgot to mention real quick where C-3PO and R2-D2 were in the Tatooine sand, and before the skiff thing blows up, there's like a magnet. It goes, it kind of layers down, and then picks them up. It goes back up. It does look extremely bad. Like, you can tell they're not actually in sand. They're just like, they just like built like a physical, like, practical mound of like fake sand and just put them behind it, and you can clearly tell when C-3PO is moving. It does look horrible, and again, that's not, oh, well, it's the 80s, give them some, no, like, the movies before that looked better, you know what I mean? There are movies in the 80s other than Star Wars that look 10 times better than that one shot. Again, it's a nitpick, but I had to bring it up. And then we also get the "He will come to me." It's just very kind of weird delivery. I would have reshot that scene. Other than that, though, this is a very effing good movie, man. This is a great ending to this trilogy. Vader's sacrifice is great. Luke's character arc is great. Again, Luke's character arc is not complete. We do see his arc get complete the sequels, but I really, you know what I mean? I love this trilogy, man. I really do. I love the prequels, but I really love this original trilogy. It is freaking awesome. I think it's a very, very well put together trilogy, and I cannot wait to cover the sequels. My favorite trilogy out of any trilogy, any set of films ever, as you guys probably know already, and that will be The Force Awakens Episode 7 next video. I cannot wait to do more of the, finish up the sequels, and then by the time I finish Rise of Skywalker, hopefully I'll be playing Lego Star Wars. Again, I'm going to play each episode for myself, and then I'm going to take a break and then film a little bit for you guys on my base Xbox One, and hopefully it works. If it doesn't, I'm sorry I tried. But if it does, hey, you'll be able to, it won't be day one. I'm not going to be putting out content April 5th or even probably the 6th because I need to play through each film for myself first. And then after I beat the film, then I could just essentially replay those levels, for you guys. So again, Little delayed, but it's still going to be coming, hopefully, if it works. But I can't wait to get this game, man. You know, the prequel trilogy had some flaws, but I really love them as Star Wars films. And, you know, they're good films for the most part. And then this film trilogy is, I think, better than the prequels in terms of how they're made. I think that, you know, the prequels are more fun to watch because there's more lightsaber fights and action and cool CGI. But I do think that this film holds a lot of heart. You know, I mean, Luke, I do find it really cool that, you know, even Yoda, upon his dying breath, Yoda's death scene is awesome, by the way. And Yoda's like, hey, in order for you to become a Jedi, you gotta kill Vader. And that's, again, one of the reasons why, you know, the Jedi are stubborn little motherfudgers. You know what I mean? They're like, look, we got wiped out, but, you know, Yoda still believes in his stupid little heart that the only way to become good is to kill the evil. And then how does Luke truly becomes a Jedi? By not killing the evil. You know what I mean? Luke values the value of not using a lightsaber, of not giving into your evil. And again, he does that, but when he stops, he throws the lightsaber down. Look, all right, you know, I've had enough of this crap. You know, I'm done. Screw it. And I think it's a really nice moment that, you know, a true Jedi is one literally who, yes, can kill in terms of self-defense, but does not seek violence or action. And that's exactly what Luke is all about, you know what I mean? So I think it's really cool. Again, I cannot wait to cover The Force Awakens. Again, Return of the Jedi gets an A. I love this trilogy so much, and I cannot wait to play it in LEGO Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga. Again, Force Awakens Episode 7 coming up next. I'm going to be having more LEGO Marvel gameplay. I'm filming that on Sunday, so don't worry, that's still coming. Lots more epic stuff to come on the channel. If you like the video, subscribe if you're new. Again, going to be covering episodes 7 through 9, and then a bunch of other stuff down the line. I'm also going to be covering the Clone Wars movies, Solo and Rogue One, after. So, you know, looking forward to those. I wasn't going to. You know, I love watching them. Normally when I watch them, I watch all 12. But, you know, since LEGO Star Wars, I figured I'd do the main 9. But one of my subscribers was like, do Rogue One. So I'm like, all right, I'll just do the rest. Screw it. But, you know, I can't wait to cover those. And then I'm going to be working on a whole bunch of other stuff, too. Going to be covering Moon Knight. I got a whole lot. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And I cannot wait for the sequel trilogy. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.